Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Tuesday, February the 14th. It is the feast of St. Cyril and Methodius in the New Rite, and in the extraordinary form of the Old Rite, Tridentine Rite, it is the feast of St. Valentine. It should never be forgotten. These two saints are of course very powerful, Cyril and Methodius, but Valentine should never have been taken off the liturgical calendar in my estimation. That confounds me. He died for marriage. This is so needed today, it's unbelievable. Should be at least the third saint put on, but back on here as an optional memorial or as a third possibility. He died for marriage. This is so critical in our day, Saint Valentine. And he teaches us about true love, not all this sugary, saccharine love, narcissistic, love, the narcissism that uses love. It's all about self. About true love, the sacrifice for the good of the other as other. And boy, do we ever need to discover and rediscover this and live it out, teach it to our young people, teach it to ourselves. Saint Valentine. And it takes nothing away from these great saints, Cyril and Methodius. Okay, so Genesis chapter 6, the Lord saw that the wickedness of humanity was great on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made human beings on the earth. That's what we call anthropomorphic language. Language that's used in human beings, for human beings, to help us understand something about God, because God can't be sorry for anything he's done. God is immutable, he's unchanging. That's just a little sidebar there. So basically, God's going to do a reset. He's going to wipe all the creatures out. However, Noah finds favor in the sight of the Lord. There's always someone, right? There's always someone. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's Noah. And remember, these people are not perfect. They are not immaculately conceived. They have sin in them, but they are striving to live a righteous life. And that's what's so important for us. These are great men. These are, the princes of the best of Israel, but they're not perfect. They actually commit sins. Noah gets drunk. Okay, that's whether it's a mortal or venial sin is inconsequential at this point, but he did get drunk. And there are other questionable actions, even about Abraham equivocating on his wife Sarah, maybe lying. The point is, it's not perfection God is looking for, but fidelity. And they are faithful to the Lord. So the same thing transfers for you and me, even more so because we're in the new covenant. God expects us to be faithful. He doesn't expect us to be successful, and I don't think he even expects us, it doesn't demand that we be perfect in the sense that we are never going to commit sin. He wants us to strive to never commit sin, but his love for us is not conditioned on the fact that we should never say, I'll never commit a sin. Because we don't know what we're going to do tomorrow, let alone this afternoon. We don't know. What we should say is, with the help of God, I will strive not to sin ever again, and I will also strive to love you more and more each day. So God is going to do the reset, and he orders Noah to build the ark, and we know it's going to happen in the readings of the next few days, if you've ever read Genesis before. So Noah is faithful to this, and he was undoubtedly ridiculed by many people around him, but he was faithful to what the Lord required of him to do. Okay, over to the Gospel. St. Mark. Okay, after feeding the crowd, Jesus went away with them, got into a boat with the disciples to return to the other side. Okay, they had forgotten to bring any bread, and they had only one loaf. Jesus cautioned them, saying, "Watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod." But they said to one another, "Is it because we have no bread?" So they're thinking of their gut, they're thinking of their stomach, and Jesus is thinking of their heart and their head. In other words, they're thinking, hey, we don't have enough to eat. Jesus is thinking, be sure of what enters your mind and your heart, the teaching of Herod. The yeast is the teaching of Herod. The false, the perverse, the worldly teaching of Herod and the false teaching of the Pharisees that will lead you away from God if you let it get into your heart and twist it around, as it were. So not only will I take care of you, giving you the bread of the body, but I will also take care of you by my teaching. If you listen to my teaching, it will inform your mind, your intellect, and it will also feed your heart. It will fire up your heart, and it will give you the grace you need to actually do the good. So this is what Jesus is reminding them of, and it is always important that we revisit this, because many people today, we place all sorts of things above the we make all sorts of things the yeast of Herod and the Pharisees. You know, it's technology, it's sports on Sunday morning, it's the lack or the absence of prayer in our life, but we do all the worldly things. You know, it's judging the church because of the sins of individuals in the church, but not actually looking at the church as the bulwark of truth. So we just sweep everything aside because people in the church have sinned. This is very narrow understanding of life and so on, but it happens all the time. What's important is, of course, you and I, accept the bread that Jesus gives us, that is the bread of life in the Holy Eucharist, but also his teaching that informs our mind of the truth and our heart of the truth as well, that helps us to love the truth. And that's what Jesus promises us each and every day. God bless you.